So I just want to say before I start this video that viewer discretion is advised because we're about to dive into a very disturbing case of child trafficking, and it's called the Finders case. So I'm just going to jump right in. The Finders case is a deep secret that was revealed to the world in a fashion that draws many questions from the reader and leaves steep mountains of grave depravity behind. The following is recounted from the leaked Customs Service report of a secret agent Kreitlow pertaining to the Finders case. It begins February 5th, 1987, when the Tallahassee Police Department discovered 2 adult males with 6 children ranging from 2 to 7 years old in a park. The children seemed animalistic, dirty, and unkempt. They had not bathed in days, and some wore no underwear. They told the police that they were not allowed to live indoors, and were given rewards in the form of food. The children commented to the officers that they had been at a commune in Washington, D.C. They did not seem to know how to use telephones, televisions, or toilets, or even what they were. The vehicle they were traveling in smelled foul and was filled with documents. It was a 1979 Dodge van, Virginia license plate XRW557. The men were charged with child abuse and brought to the station for questioning. They refused to speak to the officers except to recount a bizarre story that they were the children's teachers and were caravanning them to Mexico to establish a school for, quote, brilliant children. The children also parroted this foolish claim. At this time, the D.C. Metropolitan Police Department contacted the Tallahassee Police Department concerning the men and children. The TPD requested information about the aforementioned men and leads concerning their claims. One of the detectives in D.C. claimed to be in knowledge of a cult in the area called the Finders, who displayed a similar modus operandi. The information from Tallahassee was then provided to the D.C. detective, Bradley. Checks were run on the names, addresses, and vehicle. These came back negative. Searching of the vehicle provided documents that partially identified some of the children and men accompanying them. The 2 addresses provided by the TPD were forwarded to Detective Bradley, who arranged for search warrants in the D.C. area. Bradley recounted to U.S. Customs that he received a tip from a confidential informant regarding the cult named Finders. The confidential informant recounted blood rituals and sex orgies involving children, including an implicated murder. Through this documentation, Detective Bradley confirmed positive ID of the men and children as members of the Finders and children in their custody. The detective from Customs, and a team utilized these warrants and searched the first address of 2. What they found was shocking. They immediately located children's clothing and toys. They also arrested a man named Stuart Miles. On his computer, they found numerous files, including the following instructionals: how to impregnate females, purchasing of children, kidnapping, and police evading in these tactics. They also recovered orders from foreign embassies and the like. Shockingly, there was information about the arrest of the men in Florida and the search warrant for the current premises in which they were at. They sealed the premises and began to evaluate the cache of documents found. It came to their attention at about this time that a reporter had retrieved the information of the second location warrant from a TPD officer and was awaiting the execution of said warrant. This is an interesting possible leak of the previous warrant, which is unaccounted for. During the execution of the second warrant, there were many other documents and photos. Some of these photos were nude photographs of the Finders members, and children they enslaved. There were also photos of the children participating in blood rituals with goats, who were disemboweled, skinned, beheaded, and also their genitals mutilated. They also obtained the location of other activities in London, Germany, the Bahamas, Japan, Hong Kong, Malaysia, Africa, Costa Rica, and other places in Europe. There were also files of unrelated families. These files were compiled in a response to help wanted ads for childcare. Childcare organizations were also profiled as targets. During the search, they found an indoctrination room, obviously set up for brainwashing operations. They also found an altar, jars of excrements, passports, and video equipment. A Treasury document relates the conclusion of this investigation. The passports that were seized were reinstated for travel by the Department of Defense. The investigation was handed over to the FBI and then to the CIA, which made it into an internal affair, and no further action was to be taken. This is the final disturbing twist. The CIA, which has a history of similar actions, absorbed and by the tone of the report absolved the investigation, classifying it to secret clearance. That is the case of the Finders, and it is deeply disturbing. I hope you check in next time for more investigative reporting here at Frontlines.